Okay, y'all. I told you there'd be a follow-up, and here we are. 3 weeks ago, I sat right here in this exact chair, looked into this exact camera, and I made a promise to you. I said, write this down, screenshot it, save it to your phone. I said within the next 30 days, Jay-Z's camp is going to do one of 3 very specific things, and you are not going to be able to unsee it once it happens. I told you to bookmark the video. I told you to come back. Well, here we are, friends. The 30 days are up. The receipts have landed. And what dropped in the last 72 hours is not a coincidence, it is not a fluke, and it is not, as some of the rock apologists are trying to spin, just Jay-Z being Jay-Z. No. What we just watched is a textbook stability flare. It is the exact crisis management blueprint that every PR shop in Manhattan has saved on a shared drive somewhere. And the funniest part? Jay-Z is one of the people who wrote that blueprint. So when I tell you the playbook is being run on us in real time, I mean that with my whole chest. Sit down. Get your tea. Let me walk you through what just happened, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it, and I promise you the next 60 days are going to be wild. Now, before we go any further, let me set the table for the new folks. If you are just walking into this room, here is the short version. 3 weeks ago, Jay-Z was in the middle of what I called an optics nosedive. The DJ booth audio was making its rounds. That solo FIFA box photo had hit comedy status on every timeline that exists. The hairline meme cycle had reached escape velocity, and the cultural mood around Jay-Z was, to put it politely, no longer flattering. So I told you what was coming. I told you a man with Jay-Z's resources does not sit in the corner and take that. I told you that within 30 days, you were going to see one of 3 things, or some combination thereof. A surprise guest verse on somebody else's record. A carefully staged sit-down interview with a friendly outlet that just happened to drop at the perfect moment. Or a philanthropic announcement designed to drown out the gossip lane with feel-good headlines. I asked y'all to mark the calendar. Y'all marked it. And listen, I am not here to take a victory lap. I am here to teach you the pattern so the next time you watch a campaign get rolled out in real time, you can clock it from a mile away. Because once you know the blueprint, the magic disappears. So let me show you the receipts. All of them. One by one. Receipt number 1. The philanthropy. Now, I want to say this very carefully, because the comment section is going to try to drag me, and that is okay, drag me. I will read the comments tonight with my dinner. Philanthropy is a beautiful thing. Giving back is a beautiful thing. I am not slandering the act of generosity. What I am slandering is the timing. Because philanthropy that arrives unannounced, on a random Tuesday, with no press release attached, is charity. Philanthropy that arrives in a coordinated burst, with matching graphics across 3 Roc Nation accounts, with a quote pre-cleared for the New York Times, and with a community leader doing a podcast about it within 72 hours, is not charity. That is narrative management. That is reputation insurance. And the timing here, friends, is exquisite. Within the same window that the DJ booth audio was being reposted by every gossip account on this app, within the same window that the FIFA solo photos were getting photoshopped into memes, within the same window that the hairline jokes had reached comedy gold. Suddenly, like magic, here come the foundation announcements. Here come the Roc Nation initiative reposts. Here come the carefully placed quotes from community leaders praising Jay-Z's commitment to the culture. Read the room with me. That is not a coincidence. That is a calendar. And Jay-Z's team did not invent this move, but they did perfect it. Let me give you the test, because this is the kind of thing I want you to be able to do on your own. The next time a celebrity drops a philanthropic announcement, I want you to ask 3 questions. 1. When was the last bad news cycle for this person, and was it within the last 14 days? 2. Is the announcement being reposted by multiple aligned accounts within a tight 6-hour window? 3. Is there a friendly journalist with a follow-up story already in the chamber? If the answer to all 3 is yes, friends, you are not looking at charity. You are looking at a stability flare. And Jay-Z's most recent wave of announcements scores a perfect 3 out of 3. I am not making this up. Go look at the timestamps yourself. Pull the screenshots. Line them up. The pattern is not subtle. The pattern is loud. The pattern is so loud that Roc Nation is going to have to file a noise complaint on themselves. And let me say something else about the philanthropy angle, because I know there is going to be a wave of comments from people who think any criticism of charitable activity is unfair. Listen, I have been doing this long enough to know the difference between genuine giving and choreographed giving. Genuine giving does not come with a media plan. Genuine giving does not come with a synchronized social rollout. Genuine giving does not come with a quote already pre-approved for the cover of an industry magazine. When the giving is real, the giving is quiet. And when the giving is loud, the giving is leverage. I am not the one who made this distinction. The crisis management industry made it. I am just the one telling y'all about it. So if your only takeaway from this segment is that I am hating on Jay-Z's foundation work, you have completely missed the point. The point is not the philanthropy. The point is the choreography. The point is the timing. The point is the system. And once you can see the system, you can never go back to not seeing it. That is the gift this channel keeps giving y'all, free of charge, every single week. Now, receipt number 2, and this one is the one that has the music nerds in my comments excited, because we have been waiting for this. There has been quiet, unmistakable movement on the music side that does not match a casual schedule. Let me lay it out for you. Studio bookings have been traced to producers who have historically been in Jay-Z's orbit. There has been a noticeable uptick in publishing side activity tied to his catalog, which usually means feature clearances are being negotiated behind the scenes. And there has been chatter, real chatter, not internet wish casting, in the Industry Insider Slack channels that I happen to know about, suggesting that a guest verse is being placed on somebody else's project within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Now, I am not going to sit here and tell you the exact track. I am not going to tell you the exact release date. If I knew that, I would not be telling you. I would be making a different kind of money. But what I can tell you is this. When the PR side of an artist's team executes a stability flare, the music side almost always follows within 60 days. It is the cheapest, fastest, highest ROI narrative reset in hip-hop. Think of it like this. A guest verse is the political equivalent of a presidential pardon. It costs almost nothing. It dominates the cycle. It resets the conversation. And it forces every commentator, including me, to talk about the bars instead of the baggage. That is a brilliant move. That is a strategic move. That is a move Jay-Z has run before and will run again. So when you see the surprise feature drop, and you will see it, do not be shocked. Be informed. You heard it here first, and you heard it here on time. Receipt number 3. The sit-down interview. Now listen carefully, because this is where the analysis gets fun. The type of sit-down interview a camp positions tells you everything you need to know about what mode they are operating in. There are 2 main types of crisis interview, and I want you to be able to tell them apart for the rest of your media-literate life. Type 1 is the defensive interview. It is short. It runs about 10 to 12 minutes. It is hosted by a friendly outlet that has been pre-cleared. The questions are soft. The talking points are tight. The artist is in damage control posture. You can feel the lawyers in the room even though you cannot see them. Type 2 is the confidence interview. It is long. It is exploratory. It is hosted by a legacy outlet, sometimes print, sometimes a long-form podcast, sometimes a magazine cover. The artist is allowed to be philosophical. The conversation pulls back 15, 20 years and reframes the entire career arc. The artist becomes a statesman, not a defendant. The interview that just got positioned for Jay-Z Friends is Type 2. That tells you everything. Because Type 2 is not the move you make when you are still trying to put the fire out. Type 2 is the move you make when you have decided that the daily news cycle is unwinnable, so you are zooming the camera out 15 years and reminding everyone of the empire. That is sophisticated. That is expensive. That is a move that requires confidence in your long game. And it tells me that the Jay-Z Brain Trust has officially exited damage control and entered legacy reframe. Which, by the way, is exactly what I told you would happen. Now, while all of this orchestrated reset is happening on the Jay-Z side of the board, I need you to pivot your eyes to the other side, because the most interesting move on the chessboard right now is not a move at all. It is a refusal to move. Nicki Minaj has, with what can only be described as surgical, monastic discipline, said absolutely nothing. 0 subliminals about the philanthropic announcements. 0 tweets reacting to the interview positioning. 0 commentary about the rumored guest verse. Just music. Just family. Just life. Just her. And friends, that is exactly why Nicki Minaj is winning this round. Because the loudest countermove in optics warfare is a quiet one. There is no humiliation in this entire industry more devastating than being countered by silence. When your opponent rolls out a 6-figure narrative reset and you respond by simply living your life, you have just forced them to perform their comeback for an empty room. The Barbz are still running intelligence operations on the receipt side, no question about that. They are sharper than any newsroom in America. But the queen on the board, the principal, Nicki Minaj herself, has chosen to let Jay-Z play the entire game by himself. That is not weakness. That is strategy. And the fact that some of y'all in the comments still cannot tell the difference between silence and surrender is exactly why these PR campaigns work on the general public. But not on us. Not on this channel. Let me explain why Nicki Minaj's silence is the smartest play in the room. When you respond, you confirm. When you confirm, you extend the news cycle by another 48 hours. When you extend the news cycle, you are doing the very job the stability flare was designed to do, which is keeping the conversation alive long enough for the curated counter-content to land. By saying absolutely nothing, Nicki Minaj is denying Jay-Z's team the oxygen they need for the second wave of the rollout. Every PR firm in the industry will tell you the same thing privately. The worst possible outcome for a stability flare campaign is a target who refuses to engage. Because then your beautifully timed philanthropy reposts just sit there. Your interview just sits there. Your surprise guest verse just sits there. There is no opponent to dance with. The whole spectacle starts to look like a man shadowboxing in a parking lot. And that, friends, is exactly the image Nicki Minaj is creating right now. She is letting the room fill with smoke and walking away with her music, her family, and her dignity intact. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And here is the part that I think a lot of casual observers are going to miss, so let me put a spotlight on it. Nicki Minaj is not just being quiet. Nicki Minaj is being strategically quiet. There is a massive difference between a celebrity who has nothing to say and a celebrity who has everything to say and chooses to say nothing. Nicki Minaj is in the second category. You can feel the discipline behind the silence. You can feel the team meetings behind the silence. You can feel the calculated decision to let the opposition wear itself out swinging at a target that refuses to flinch. And when a strategist of Nicki Minaj's caliber goes silent, the silence itself becomes a statement louder than any clapback tweet she has ever fired off. That is the level she is operating on. That is the level Jay-Z's team is having to play against. And right now, on the scoreboard that actually matters, the scoreboard of audience perception, Nicki Minaj is up by a hand none of us can see. Now, while we are on the subject of who is moving and who is not, let me hand you one more receipt that I do not want you to miss, because this one is going to make some of you uncomfortable. The original operative in this saga, our friend DJ Booth, has gone suspiciously, deafeningly quiet. The phone calls have stopped. The interviews have thinned out. The blog placements have softened into nothing. 3 weeks ago, this man could not stop talking. He had a podcast spot every other day. He had quotes in every gossip outlet. He had a presence. And now, tumbleweeds. Now, in crisis communications, when an operative who is loudly stirring the pot suddenly goes silent, there are only 3 explanations, and they all lead to the same conclusion. Explanation 1. The operative was pulled by whoever was funding the noise. Explanation 2. The operative was paid to step back. Explanation 3. The operative was warned, formally, by attorneys, by associates, or by people whose names do not appear in court filings. In any of those 3 scenarios, the conclusion is identical. The camp recognized that the operative had become a liability, and they rotated him out. Crisis communications professionals call this asset hygiene. It is the cleanest signal that a camp has shifted from damage prevention into damage recovery. The fire is no longer being smothered. The smoke is now being marketed as fog. And once you start seeing fog being sold as weather, friends, you know the playbook is in full motion. Let me give you a forensic toolkit, because I want you walking away from this video not just entertained, but armed. Here are 3 tells that a stability flare campaign is in motion, and you can use these on any celebrity, in any decade, for the rest of your media watching life. Tell number 1. Philanthropic announcements clustered within a 14-day window after a viral optics loss. Look for the cluster. Look for the choreography. Real charity does not move in formation. Tell number 2. The sudden reactivation of aligned media outlets, all running suspiciously consistent talking points within the same 48-hour window. Look for repeated language across publications. When 3 outlets all describe the artist as, quote, a legacy figure quietly recommitting to the culture, unquote, in the same week, that is not 3 independent journalists having the same epiphany. That is 1 press kit being distributed to 3 friendly inboxes. That, friends, is the smoking gun of coordinated placement, and Jay-Z's team is currently leaving fingerprints all over the crime scene. Tell number 3. The disappearance of the original operative who started the fire. When the loud voice goes quiet right when the cleanup begins, you are not watching a story end, you are watching a story be managed. When all 3 tells cluster within a 30-day window, you are not watching a coincidence. You are watching a playbook. And once you see the playbook, you cannot unsee it. Welcome to the new media literacy. You're welcome. Now, since I went 3 for 3 on the last prediction and y'all timestamped it, let me do it again because I am feeling generous and because the data is loud enough that I am willing to put my name on it. Here is the next call. Within the next 60 days, expect one of 3 escalations from the Jay-Z camp. Escalation A surprise feature on a major artist's record that delivers the legacy reframe message in audio form. The verse will not be defensive. The verse will be reflective, philosophical, possibly with a mentor figure tone, and it will trend for 96 hours minimum. Escalation B, a long-form documentary or series announcement positioning Jay-Z as a mentor or godfather figure to a new generation of artists or entrepreneurs. Watch for a streaming platform partnership. Watch for the trailer drop in the middle of the week to capture maximum coverage. Escalation C, a major brand or sports league partnership announcement, the kind that elevates Jay-Z out of the gossip lane entirely and back into the boardroom lane. Think Roc Nation sports expansion. Think league-level cultural ambassador role. Think headline that reads like a quarterly earnings report. One of those 3, friends. Possibly 2. Timestamp this video. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the notifications on. We are coming back in 60 days, and when at least one of these lands, I want every single one of you in the comments saying you saw it here first. Because you did. Let me give you the bonus prediction, the one I am most confident about, but the one nobody is talking about yet. Watch the Black media ecosystem over the next 30 days. Watch for sit-downs on the friendly podcast circuit. Watch for thoughtful op-eds in the legacy Black press. Watch for community leader endorsements that frame Jay-Z as a generational shepherd. The Black media reactivation is the canary in the coal mine for these campaigns because that is where the trust is, and trust is the most expensive ingredient in narrative repair. If you see 2 or more of those placements within the next 4 weeks, you will know the second wave of the rollout has begun. And I will be back here in this same chair, breaking it down for you in forensic detail because that is what we do here. We do not chase the headlines. We map the architecture behind them. Now, the question I always get in the comments, and I love that y'all ask it, is why does any of this matter? Why should the average person care about how a billionaire rapper manages his image? And the answer is simple, friends. Because the same blueprint that Jay-Z and Roc Nation are running right now is the same blueprint that gets run on you, on your local politicians, on your favorite athletes, on the corporations you do business with, and on the institutions that shape your daily life. The stability flare is not just a hip-hop tactic. The stability flare is the central nervous system of modern reputation engineering. The only difference between Jay-Z's campaign and the one your local mayor is running right now is the budget. The architecture is identical. The tells are identical. The cadence is identical. So when you learn to read the Jay-Z playbook, you are not just learning hip-hop gossip. You are learning the operating system of how powerful people manage their image when the optics turn against them. That is real media literacy. That is what we do on this channel. And that is why y'all keep coming back. Let me address the Jay-Z defenders directly, because I see y'all in the comments already, and I respect the love, I do. Some of you are going to say, Tisa, you are reading too much into this. The man has been doing philanthropy for 20 years. Why are you making it weird now? And to you I say this. I am not making it weird. The timing is making it weird. The choreography is making it weird. The coordinated language across friendly outlets is making it weird. I am simply pointing at the weird and naming it. If Jay-Z dropped a foundation announcement on a random Tuesday in March when nothing else was happening, I would say beautiful, generous move, hats off, let's go. But when the foundation announcement lands inside the same 72-hour window as a viral optics crisis, and it lands with matching graphics, pre-cleared quotes, and a friendly podcast appearance lined up the next morning, then I am not the one making it weird. The campaign is making it weird. I am just narrating. Do not shoot the narrator. Shoot the choreographer. And the choreographer, in this case, lives at Roc Nation headquarters. Now, the other thing I want to point out, and this is the part that I think the casual observer is going to miss, is that Jay-Z's current strategy is not aimed at the Barbz. It is not aimed at the Nicki Minaj fanbase. The Barbz were never the target audience of this rollout, because the Barbz were never going to be convinced. The Barbz are the receipt army. They are unmovable. Jay-Z's strategy is aimed at the soft middle, the casual fan, the person who likes a Jay-Z record but does not follow the drama, the brand partners who read headlines but not comments, the investors who need to see Jay-Z framed as a legacy figure, not a meme. That is the audience this campaign is built for. And for that audience, friends, the campaign is working. The headlines are softening. The legacy framing is taking root. The hairline jokes are starting to feel like old news. That is the entire point. Jay-Z does not need to win the comments section. He needs to win the boardroom. And the boardroom only reads the polished version. Meanwhile, on the other side of the chessboard, Nicki Minaj is running her own quiet long game. And let me tell you what I think she is doing, because the math is fascinating. By staying silent, Nicki Minaj is letting the cultural energy build on her side without spending a dime of her own goodwill. Every day she does not respond is a day the Barbz grow louder. Every day she does not respond is a day the receipts accumulate without her fingerprints. Every day she does not respond is a day the soft middle starts asking, wait, why is Jay-Z trying so hard if nothing happened? And that question, friends, that one question, is the most expensive question a stability flare can produce. Because once the audience starts asking why the cleanup is so loud, the cleanup itself becomes the story. And Nicki Minaj knows it. Nicki Minaj has been in this industry long enough to recognize that her best weapon right now is the appearance of indifference. Whether or not Nicki Minaj is actually indifferent is a separate conversation, and frankly none of our business. But the appearance is doing its job, and the appearance is winning. Let me also tell you what I am watching for on the Nicki Minaj side, because just because she is silent does not mean her team is asleep. Watch for a music drop within the next 30 to 45 days. Not a diss track, not a response. A regular drop. A song, an album rollout, a feature on somebody else's record where the bar work is so sharp that the conversation gets pulled back to the music. That is how Nicki Minaj wins this cycle without saying a word. By being the better artist in the room while her rival is busy being the better politician. The contrast is going to be devastating, friends. And I do not say that lightly. I say it as someone who has watched Nicki Minaj operate for the better part of 2 decades. Nicki Minaj does not need to respond to Jay-Z. Nicki Minaj needs to remind the room why nobody else can do what she does. And once that reminder lands, the entire stability flare becomes irrelevant. And do not sleep on the Barbz in this equation either, because the Barbz are doing the work that Nicki Minaj never has to lift a finger to do. The Barbz are the unpaid forensic department for an entire side of hip-hop right now. They are the ones screen-grabbing the philanthropy reposts and lining them up next to the timeline of the DJ booth audio. They are the ones running the cross-publication language comparisons that prove the press kit theory. They are the ones flooding the quote tweets with receipts every time a friendly journalist tries to plant a soft narrative. And the Barbz do all of this for free, on their own time, with the kind of unified discipline that PR firms would kill to manufacture. So when I tell you that Nicki Minaj's silence is strategic, part of what makes it strategic is that she has an army doing the loud work for her while she stays above the fray. That, friends, is asymmetric warfare. That is the digital age version of using your opponent's strength against them. And Jay-Z's team knows it. Trust me, they know it. Now, let me circle back to DJ Booth for a second, because I do not want this point to get lost in the shuffle. The disappearance of an operative is one of the most underrated signals in crisis comms, and I want to make sure you understand why. When an operative is loudly stirring the pot, that operative is what is called a deniable asset. The principal can claim they have no control over what the operative says, even when everybody in the industry knows the operative is being fed talking points behind the scenes. But the moment that operative becomes more of a liability than an asset, the principal has to make a decision. Either let the operative continue and risk further damage, or pull the operative and accept the silence as a tell. Both options come with a cost. The Jay-Z camp clearly decided the cost of silence was lower than the cost of further mess. That tells you the calculus inside Roc Nation has officially shifted from offensive to defensive. The team is not trying to win the cycle anymore. The team is trying to survive the cycle. And friends, surviving the cycle is not the same as winning it. Do not let anyone tell you it is. Let me give you the chess analogy, because I think it lands. When you are playing chess and you are forced to sacrifice your queen to protect your king, you are not winning, you are merely not losing. That is where Jay-Z's team is right now. The DJ Booth pullback is the sacrificed queen. The philanthropy rollout, the interview positioning, the rumored guest verse, those are all king protection moves. None of them are checkmate moves. None of them put Nicki Minaj on the defensive. They just keep Jay-Z from being checkmated by his own narrative. And in chess, when you spend 3 moves in a row protecting your king, you are no longer running the game. The game is running you. That is the position Jay-Z is in. That is the position his team is trying to escape. And the next 60 days are going to tell us whether they can. Now, before we get to the close, let me give y'all one more layer, because I know my comment section is going to ask. What about the legal angle? What about the lawsuits? What about the contracts? I am going to keep that conversation short because the legal side is its own video and I am cooking it up for next week. But I will say this. When a stability flare rolls out at the scale, it almost always means the legal side is also moving in the background. Cease and desist letters are being drafted. Defamation thresholds are being calculated. Sworn statements are being prepositioned. None of this is visible to the public yet. None of it will be visible until somebody files something. But when the legal side activates, it usually activates inside the same window as the PR rollout, because the legal team and the PR team are operating from the same war room. So if you see a lawsuit filed in the next 45 days, do not be surprised. Be confirmed, because you heard it here first. As always. And let me drop one more thought that I want sitting in your head for the next 60 days. Watch the third-party voices. Watch the so-called neutral commentators. Watch the supposedly objective hip-hop journalists who suddenly find themselves writing think pieces about Jay-Z's underappreciated cultural contributions inside the same news cycle as the philanthropy rollout. Those voices are not random. Those voices are not having simultaneous spiritual awakenings about Jay-Z's legacy on the exact same Tuesday afternoon. Those voices are being cultivated. Sometimes with access. Sometimes with exclusives. Sometimes with the implicit promise that the next time Roc Nation has a story to place, they will be on the call list. That is how the soft middle of hip-hop journalism actually works, and once you know to look for it, you start clocking the same 5 or 6 bylines doing the same favor across every cycle. Nicki Minaj's team knows exactly who those bylines are. Trust me, the Barbz know too. And when the time is right, those names will be reseated into the conversation, and the polished narrative will fall apart in real time. I want to end this where I started, because that is the architecture of good storytelling. 3 weeks ago, I told y'all a playbook was coming. I told y'all the exact 3 moves. I told y'all to mark the calendar. The playbook arrived. Down to the comma. Down to the punctuation. The philanthropy hit. The interview positioned. The guest verse is moving through the pipeline. The operative went quiet. The legacy reframe activated. Every single beat I called out 3 weeks ago has now landed. And the people who timestamped the original video are sitting in the comments tonight feeling vindicated, and they have every right to be. Because we did not get lucky. We read the architecture. And the architecture told us exactly what was coming. So now I am going to tell you what is coming next, and I want you to do the same thing you did the first time. Timestamp this. Screenshot it. Mark the calendar. 60 days. One of 3 escalations. The surprise verse. The mentor documentary. The brand or league partnership. Watch for the second wave. Watch for the black media reactivation. Watch for the legal side activating in the background. And when it lands, come back to this video and let me know in the comments who called it. The lesson, friends, is the same lesson it always is. The most dangerous people in this industry are not the ones who get caught. The most dangerous people are the ones with the resources to recover from getting caught. Jay-Z is in his recovery cycle. Nicki Minaj is in her silence cycle. The Barbz are in their archive cycle. The press is in its complicity cycle. And the rest of us in this little corner of the internet, we are in our literacy cycle. We are learning to read the moves before the moves are announced. We are learning to clock the choreography before the dancers take the stage. That is the only real power any of us have in a world where billionaires have publicists and we have group chats. And that, friends, is enough. That is more than enough. So here is what I want from you before you click off this video. If you saw the original prediction land, drop a teapot in the comments so I know who was here 3 weeks ago. If you are new, scroll the channel, find the original prediction video, watch it, and come back to this one with fresh eyes, because the layers will hit different the second time. If you want to be in the room for the next round, smash that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and meet me back in this exact chair in 60 days when the next escalation lands. Because it is going to land, friends. The architecture demands it. The playbook requires it. And the budget is already approved. The receipts are already typed up. The press kits are already drafted. The friendly journalists are already on retainer. The only thing left to decide is which of the 3 escalation paths Jay-Z's team picks, and even that decision is mostly cosmetic at this point. The machine is running. The machine is not stopping. Our only job is to keep watching, keep documenting, and keep calling the moves before they happen. That is the literacy. That is the work. And friends, you have signed up for the right channel to learn it. I will see you on the next plate. Pour yourself something warm. Lock that door. And remember, you did not get media literate by accident. You got it because you sat with the receipts. You sat with the patterns. You sat with the choreography. You sat with me. And as long as y'all keep showing up to sit with me, I will keep showing up with the receipts. Same chair, same camera, same energy, same blueprint. Talk soon. One more thing before I let y'all go, because I can already see the FAQ in my comment section forming, so let me head it off right now. Question 1. Tisa, are you saying the philanthropy is fake? No. I am saying the timing is engineered. There is a difference. Question 2. Tisa, are you saying Nicki Minaj is going to come out on top of all of this? In the short term, yes, the appearance war is hers. In the long term, the music will decide, and the music always does. Question 3. Tisa, why do you talk about hip-hop like it is a season of geopolitics? Because that is exactly what it is, and the sooner we treat it that way, the sooner we stop being manipulated by people who already do. Question 4. Tisa, what if I am wrong about Nicki Minaj's silence being strategic? Then I will eat the L on camera in this chair, and we will all laugh about it. That is the deal. I show my work, you check my work, and the receipts do what the receipts do. Also, real quick, for the people asking how to support the channel without spending a dime, here is the cheat sheet. Watch the videos all the way through. Leave a real comment, not just an emoji, because the algorithm rewards conversation more than reactions. Share the video to one group chat where the receipt army lives. And if you have the time, scroll back through the playlist and rewatch the original prediction so the connective tissue of the story stays tight in your mind. That is all I ask. The rest, the receipts, the architecture mapping, the playbook decoding, I will handle from this chair, with this camera, for as long as y'all keep showing up. Deal? Deal. And one last layer for the deep thinkers in the room, because I know y'all are the reason these videos keep going viral. The thing about a stability flare is that it is not designed to convince the people who are already paying attention. It is designed to convince the people who only check in once a quarter. The grandmother who hears one news story about the foundation announcement and decides everything is fine. The corporate sponsor who reads one headline calling the legacy reframe profound and decides the brand is still safe. The casual radio listener who hears one new feature and decides the music is still relevant. Those are the audiences this entire campaign is built around. Not us. Never us. We were never going to be persuaded by a coordinated burst of polished press, because we already know what coordinated polish looks like, and we already know who pays for it. So when the polish lands and the headlines soften, I do not want any of y'all to feel discouraged. The fact that the polish exists at all is itself proof that the receipts mattered. That is what I want you to take away from this. Receipts have power even when the powerful pretend they do not. Now go on, get out of here, before I start a whole new segment and we end up at the tower mark again. Drop the teapot. Drop the timestamp. Drop a comment for the algorithm. And come back in 60 days. Because the receipts, friends, are already in motion. The kettle is still whistling. And the spilling station, as always, is open for business. Talk soon, y'all.